YouTube, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 5 articles in this episode for you. The URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. Audio, and then we'll get started. YouTube, and welcome. There we go. The first one here is off of BizPack Review, and it says, NRA earns major kudos for its new official spokesperson. That comes to mind is, why on earth did it take this long? Imagine the National Rifle Association picking a more effective national spokesperson, individual they just chose. Commentator, nationally syndicated talk radio host, and legendary pro-gun advocate, Dana Loesch. From the NRA announcement, it says, Dana Loesch, the conservative leader, online pioneer, and nationally syndicated radio host, will serve as a major national spokesperson for the National Rifle Association. NRA Executive Vice President and CEO Wayne LaPierre as the special assistant to his Office for Public Communications, attributable authority on NRA matters. Past year, Dana has proven herself to be a powerful voice for the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. It is clear that Dana has communication skills, experience, and natural ability to serve our organization well as one its very public faces in the news media. To be expected, given Loesch's history defending Second Amendment, many conservatives on social media were thrilled at the announcement. And there's a bunch of tweets here if you want to pull them up and take a look at those. Next article I have is off Western Journalism. Mattis takes only 3 hours of rest before returning to work. James Mattis didn't earn the nickname Mad Dog for no reason. To the country early Tuesday morning, only 3 hours to himself before heading back to work, according to the Daily Caller. Mattis had just spent time abroad meeting with U.S. allies in Europe. Waiting for the hamster to scroll this up a little bit. There we go. Some used to warn NATO defense ministers to increase their defense spending, or else the U.S. would be reducing its own investment. America will meet its responsibilities, but if your nations do not want to see the alliance, each of your capitals needs to show its support for our common defense, Mattis told NATO allies. American taxpayer carry a disproportionate share of the defense of Western values. Americans cannot for your children's security than you do. Disregard for military readiness demonstrates a lack of respect for ourselves, for the alliance, and for the freedoms we inherited, which are now clearly threatened. And there's some related video in this if you want to pull it up to take a look at that. Stop before it starts yakking at us here. And good luck with that, the way this hamster's running in the wheel, I'll tell you what. Goodness. Come on, little buddy. They need a new hamster. It's the hamster that's got the problem. Oh my goodness, come on. Well, I don't know why he's got such an issue here with this. And I know when he goes to scrolling, he's going to scroll with it. I saw that coming. Oh my. Well, come on. And thanks all of you for bearing with me while my hamster has its convulsions here. My goodness. It's going to go all the way to the blasted top again. I just know it will. On. We'll just start there. While visiting, yeah, that's where it's supposed to be. Anyway, Middle East, Mattis eased. Hamster started jumping. For goodness sakes, hamster. Hush. Okay. While visiting the Middle East, Mattis eased Iraqis' fears that the United States was there to seize the country's oil. Certain we've got good shared situational awareness of what we face as we work together, fight alongside each other to destroy ISIS. That's the point in there, he said. Mattis earned the nickname Mad Dog after leading combat troops into the Persian Gulf War in 1991, as well as Afghanistan and Iraq in the early 2000s, according to a report from CNN. Because he's an avid student of history, his name is the warrior monk. Mattis' work is in line with that of his commander-in-chief, President Donald Trump. Here that says, few people knocking me for tweeting at 3 o'clock in the morning. At least you know I will be there awake to answer the call. And says the businessman turned politician has been praised for devotion to his job and says he sleeps less than 5 hours a night. Well, I have is off of Conservative Tribune. Rough ride. Trump's days. Seas jump in Dow, not seen since 1909. There we go. It's scrolling nicely. Despite ominous predictions to the contrary, the U.S. stock market has experienced quite a positive surge since Donald Trump took office. The surge began the day after the election in November. In fact, the Trump market rally just since his inauguration has witnessed growth for the first term, a level not seen in more than 100 years, according to MarketWatch. The Dow Jones Industrial Average grew by 4.2% during Trump's first 30 days, pegging his market rally on the all-time list behind former President Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4.13% market growth in the first months of his fourth term as president in 1945. Markets rally in the first days of Trump's administration is the strongest seen under a first-term president since the 7% Dow surge in 1909 at the beginning of William Howard Taft's presidency. The record-setting Trump gains were a topic of discussion Monday on Fox News as Your World host Neil Cavuto was joined by market analyst Charlie Gasparino and economist professor Brian Brenberg. And there's some video in this if you want to pull it up to watch that. Gasparino maintained that the market surge was a display of business optimism fueled by Trump's promises to cut taxes for businesses and individuals while significantly rolling back some of the more oppressive regulations promulgated by the massive bureaucracy. However, he cautioned that all of the market gains could be wiped out in a huge correction if Trump fails to deliver on his promises within the first year. Yet the tax cuts, as big as were promised, were going to be a massive, agreed Brenberg. This is a really significant issue, and he has to deliver on it. That said, Both also agreed that it would take some time for Congress to work out the details of necessary legislation to turn Trump's promises into law, and that it would be unrealistic to think they could do something so complex in the first month or two. More visually attuned, check out the 6-month graph from the Wall Street Journal to see how significantly Dow Jones average has surged. And this is one hell of a graph here if you want to pull it up and take a look at it. I mean, it goes from roughly just under 18,000 right at the election, and as of the 21st, 2 days ago, were 20,500. So something. Donald Trump ran on a promise of cutting taxes and rolling back regulations in a bid to jumpstart our nation's flagging economy. And now that he has been in office for a month and has already begun to make good on those promises, the heightened business optimism will likely only surge even higher. BizPack Review, and it says GOP representative scolds Trump for calling out lib activists behind town hall protests, but there's one glaring problem. Looks like President Donald Trump was proven right again. The president was challenged by Republican congressmen after he tweeted that liberal activists were responsible for protests in GOP town halls being held across U.S. cities. And the tweet says the so-called angry crowds in home districts of some Republicans are actually, in numerous cases, planned out by liberal activists. Sad. Michigan Representative Justin Amash took exception to Trump's view, calling him out for criticizing our fellow Americans with legitimate concerns. His tweet says, "They are our fellow Americans with legitimate concerns. We need to stop acting so fragile. I'm proud to defend liberty and the Constitution." Amash, an outspoken critic of the president, has faced crowded town halls in his own state with many anti-Trump constituents, according to The Hill. But it reveals a picture that tells a different story than what Amash contends. With upcoming town halls planned by GOP legislators, it seems the activists Trump called out are quite busy rallying their bases to organize protests at these events. And there's some video.org here. If you want to take a look at it, Planned Parenthood's another one. SEIU, you know, all the basic. Says Congress issued a memo last week to lawmakers urging caution as they return to their home districts for the president's week recess, NBC4 reported. Members of Congress were instructed in the memo from the U.S. House Sergeant at Arms to alert local law enforcement officials if they plan to attend any meetings. Proper law enforcement authority to coordinate any necessary police assistance at the event, the memo told legislators who normally enjoy protection by elite police forces and bomb squads in their Washington, D.C. offices. It is especially critical to note your address and your phone number are publicly available. You should remain particularly alert regarding your surroundings, the memo added. In light of the congressional warning and calls to activists on social media, it seems President Trump's point about the so-called angry crowds is not hard to believe. And the final one I have here in this episode is off of Western Journalism, and it says Schumer tells The View Republicans planning to desert Trump. Time is on the side of congressional Democrats in their war watch with President Donald Trump, Senator Chuck Schumer confidently predicted Tuesday during an appearance on The View. Let me put it like this. When you talk to Republicans quietly, you know, in the cloakroom at the gym, they are having real problems with him. Maybe John McCain to his credit, but very few have had courage to oppose him, even though they know he's doing a lot of things that they are against and against what America is all about, Schumer added. My prediction is if he keeps on this path, which I don't think he will change, within 3 or 4 months, you'll see a whole lot of Republicans breaking with him. That's the salvage of America. That's the hope for America. They're mainstream people. They will feel they have no choice but to break with him, he said. Schumer said Trump's cabinet shows how Trump has done the opposite of what he said he would do during the campaign. The cabinet I've seen in the history of America. Donald Trump's campaigned on cleaning up Wall Street, on getting special interest and swamp out of the cabinet, or we call his cabinet the swamp cabinet. Billionaires and bankers totally against what he campaigned on, Schumer said. Schumer said he has warned Trump about the fall that Trump will soon take. I told him this: you campaigned as a populist against both the Democratic and Republican establishments, and if you continue to do that, you will have some success. But if you do what you're doing on the hard right, you're going to be a failure. That's what's going to happen, Schumer said. Personalities were mixed into the discussion on the policy. We brought tissues just in case you start to tear up, because you never know, host Whoopi Goldberg said, referring to Trump's comment about Schumer shedding fake tears over immigrants. Is there anything you want to tell him now? He doesn't know me, Schumer said. He says he knows me. I get tearful. My daughter's wedding, I could hardly contain it in. When Harry Reid stepped down, and here's what my family knows, who remembers the movie Free Willy. When Free Willy escaped, I was taking my daughters to the movies, 8 and 4, and when he escaped, I started to cry. They were so embarrassed. Trump's got it so wrong. Schumer claims his opposition to Trump is ideological, not political. We have to stop him, Schumer said. Here's what I believe: you should always be guided by your values. That's my internal gyroscope. If you have your own beliefs and stick with them, you'll stay on course. So Trump calling me names doesn't affect me. Trump trying to flatter me doesn't affect me. If he sticks with the right values, I won't oppose things because the name Trump is on it. But when he is against our values and American values, I'll fight him tooth and nail. So that's all I have in this episode. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up and share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. Subscribed yet? Do that, and that way you'll stay informed. See you in the next episode.